Okay guys, I'm here for the second video in my Great American Bash review series. The series I look at all the Great American Bashes. The pay-per-view events anyway, because as I said before, the Great American Bash dates back to 1985. But while it dates back to 1985, it didn't become a pay-per-view till 1988. So the second Great American Bash was Great American Bash in 1989, which took place on July the 23rd, 1989, from the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. This arena, I think, hosted 7 Great American Bashes, I think. I know it doesn't host the 91 Great American Bash, that's the one that Sting won the championship in, and I'm pretty sure that happened in the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia, but I could be wrong. Anyway, our first match is a 2-ring King of the Hill Battle Royal, in which 14 guys had all won a Battle Royal to get here and all have crowns are having a battle royal, and the winner of this said thing would receive, the announcers say they would receive $50,000 or something like that. So how this works is very simple. You've thrown it out of the first ring into the second ring, then all that. And as soon as one guy gets over to the second ring, the second Battle Royal can start. And then the 2 winners of these 2 Battle Royals meet off. And to make a long story short, the winners of the Battle Royal are the Skyscrapers, who are supposed to have a single match with each other, but Teddy Long refuses the match. So they split the money. So this is kind of an entirely pointless thing. It's 1 star, because Battle Royals are just generic brawling. So, 1 star. So then we get Flyin Brian versus Wild Bill Irwin. Ironically, both of these 2 were in that King of the Hill Battle Royal. Okay match here, 2 stars. This is designed to make Flyin Brian look like a star, which he was at the time. Because I think he was undefeated at this time. I think. I could be wrong. Eventually, Irwin throws Pillman over into ring 2, but Pillman climbs up to the top rope from ring 2 and cross bodies Irwin and gets the win. A little over 10 minutes. Okay match, 2 stars. So then we get the Dynamic Dudes versus the Skyscrapers. While it's a formulaic tag match, it's not a good formulaic tag match. The Dynamic Dudes were one of those failed gimmicks of the 90s, of the 80s and 90s, that was just doomed to never work. Because it's one of those things that is seriously dating itself now. I mean, the Dynamic Dudes, they didn't come out with skateboards here, which is how most people know they came out. But here they come out with frisbees. And they're throwing the frisbees around and all that. Like I said, this is a formulaic tag match. The crowd is really over for Sid for some reason. Our finish comes when Dan Spivey hits a power bomb that John Laurinaitis just barely saves himself and tucks his head up so he does not come down directly on his neck. Yeah, this match features John Laurinaitis, you know, the people power guy. Yeah, it features him. Although, he really made his name over in Japan, so. Who would have thunk I'd ever have to talk about John Laurinaitis when I wasn't, since, you know, again. So, yeah. So then we get a better than it has any right to be Tuxedo match between Jim Cornette and Paul E. Dangerously, in which Cornette's the face and Dangerously's the heel. Now, both of these guys had cut promos beforehand. Heyman talks about how he doesn't care if he wins or loses, that he's out to cripple Jim Cornette because he knows about Cornette's knees problem that he blew out at Starrcade 86 when he came off a scout boat and was supposed to be caught by Big Bubba, but Big Bubba was out of position and he blew both his knees out. Cornette says that he's doing this for anyone who's ever wanted to punch Paul E. Dangerously. Like I said, this match is actually better than it has any right to be. Because one, it's very entertaining, and it shows that Cornette and Heyman dangerously could be professional, because both of them do not like each other. I mean, I don't know if Heyman doesn't like Cornette, but I know Cornette doesn't like Heyman. I know that they have a real-life issue with each other. But Cornette sold for Dangerously quite good, and ironically, Paulie Dangerously, or Paul Heyman as he's known now, uses psychology and actually starts working over Jim Cornette's knee. Not only with his phone, but he wraps his knee around a ring post and just pulls up on it. That's psychology from a match involving two managers that really should just be a comedy match. So yeah, Cornette wins. 2-star match. Actually, 2.5-star match. Quite entertained by this little Tuxedo match that was better than it had any right to be, as I said. So then we get a Texas Tornado tag team match. The Varsity Club, which is Kevin Sullivan and Michael Rotunda, versus the Steiner brothers, which of course Rick and Scott Steiner of Missy Hyatt. This is Scott's debut. This is his pay-per-view debut in WCW. So him and Rick are not wearing the matching attire they would start wearing. Scott's in just basic yellow short tights with boots. This is a match under 5 minutes. It's a wild fight. It's not a bad one. Steiners, who are their normal stiff self, Rotunda and Sullivan actually come back and be just as stiff. So it actually kind of adds to the match. Could have been better if given more time. 1.5 stars. Next match, NWA World Heavyweight Championship match. Sting versus the Great Muta. Good match. Great match. Would have given it 3 stars if the finish was not as stupid as it is. Great Muta, a guy who should be put in any professional wrestling hall of fame, in my opinion. And that's because this is a guy who revolutionized the business in the 1980s. Before Great Muta, you had never seen people do moonsaults and all the stuff Muta was doing. And him and Sting, I always thought, had really good matches with each other, honestly. This is one of them. It's a really good match, but again, it's got a really wishy-washy finish. Sting hits a back suplex. Both their shoulders are down. There's a 3 count. Muta clearly gets his shoulder up, and it led to the WCW the NWA television title being declared vacant for quite a while. That's the problem I have with this match. I think that it needed to have a decisive finish, and I'm not sure if they had a rematch. I know they meet again at Starrcade '89, but that had nothing to do with a storyline or anything. That was just that was just a round robin tournament type thing. So if it would have had a better finish, I would have given this 3 stars happily. Good match between 2 really good workers, Sting and Muta. So then we get the NWA United States Championship match. Lex Luger versus Ricky Steamboat. This match came about because Luger had turned on Steamboat. This match is originally supposed to be a no disqualification match, but Luger actually says that unless Steamboat drops an ODQ stipulation, he was just going to walk and there wouldn't be a U.S. title match, so Steamboat agreed to it. This is a really good, solid match. It's 3.5 stars. I think it's one of Luger's best matches he ever had. I think it's one of his best matches he ever had. It's definitely not Steamboat's best match. Steamboat had better, but Steamboat had very rarely ever had a bad match, unless he was injured. Finish is actually interesting, and while I'm not a big fan of title matches in NDQ unless you're advancing the storyline, this one makes sense, because remember, this match was supposed to be a no disqualification match. So the finish comes when Luger gets this chair, because that's he's trying to get himself disqualified. Steamboat slingshots Luger with the chair into the turnbuckle. Steamboat then picks the chair up and whacks Luger with it, getting DQ'd. In context of the story of the match, that makes perfect sense, because like I said, this was supposed to be a no disqualification match to begin with. So yeah, 3.5 stars. Very good match. So then we get War Games. This is the first time I get to review a War Games match. War Games was a very interesting match that, to me, needs to come back. And if the WWE says, well, we don't want to put 2 rings up, well, you can do War Games with one ring. Use the cell. Use the cage you use for Hell in a Cell, and you got a cage for War Games. Because with that kind of a cage, you can institute the outside of the ring and all that for War Games. It can work. Okay? But for those of you who don't know the rules of War Games, which, by the way, were the rules of the War Games match since 1987 to 1998, here's the original rules of War Games. 2 5-man or 4-man teams. Okay, first of all, it's 2 rings surrounded by a really big cage over the 2 rings. And it's 2 teams of 4 or 5. In this case, it's 5, but in later years it was 4. But in later years it was 4. 1 man from each team starts for an opening 5-minute period. Okay, at the end of that 5-minute period, a coin flip is held, and the team that wins the coin flip, which is almost always the heels, because this kind of match is designed for that. Okay, the team that wins the coin toss, the heel team normally, sends in its second man to the ring, making War Games 2-on-1 for a period of 2 minutes. After that 2-minute period, the other team sends in its second man, it's 2-on-2, then it goes to 3-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-4, and then 5-on-5. And then once all 10 or 8 guys get into the ring, the match truly starts. It's called the match beyond. When the match beyond is there are no countouts because you can't get out of the cage, no disqualifications, no pinfalls. Surrender or submission is the only way to win. Now, like I said, those were very long-standing rules up until 1998 when WCW completely screwed up War Games. Because then they started to make it a 3-team match, which was every man for himself anyway. And it was and that's the change that always bugged me. I had nothing against the guy who scored the decision getting a championship match, but it's how they did the 98 War Games. And if I ever do a Fall Brawl 98 review, I will give you my full thoughts on that. But anyway, this War Games is the Midnight Express, the Road Warriors, and Dr. Death Steve Williams, taking on all 3 Fabulous Freebirds and the Samoan SWAT team. In case you're wondering who the Samoan SWAT team are, they are the Head Shrinkers from the WWE. And so, for those of you who never knew Rikishi was in War Games, here you go. Rikishi was in a War Games. Bet you didn't know that. Jimmy Garvin and Bobby Eaton start War Games, which is the quintessential position for War Games is the 2 starters. Because they're going to be in the ring for the entire duration of the match. So. And then everyone starts coming in, and War Games can have more substance and innovative spots than the Tower of Doom I talked about at the 88 Great American Bash. And there's some innovative spots here, like when Steve Williams comes in, he press slams Terry Gordy 8 times into the top of the cage. That's an innovative spot. Bobby Eaton uses the top of the cage to help do a drop kick. The Road Warrior Animal goes across both rings to do a shoulder tackle. And the finish comes when Hawk puts a hangman on Jimmy Garvin and he submits. Good match, 3 stars. It's one of the better War Game matches that WCW had. And personally, I think it should have stayed 5-on-5 and never went to 4-on-4. War Games works better as a 5-on-5 match. Because here's something else. The reason that War Games was 5-on-5 for so long was Dusty Rhodes, who created that match idea, created it after watching a hockey game, and hockey is played 5-on-5 for the majority of the game. In fact, I think it is always 5-on-5. And then with the penalty box stuff, which is how Dusty Rhodes determined all that man advantage stuff. That's why War Games should say 5-on-5. I think it was at its best when it was 5-on-5. But like I said, 3 stars. So then we get the main event, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship match, which has started at the last pay-per-view, Wrestle War, when Ric Flair won the NWA World title back from Ricky Steamboat. Terry Funk came in and said he would like to challenge him for the championship. Ric Flair saying that at that time Funk was just Funk was a judge, and he didn't really do anything, so he didn't deserve it. So Terry Funk batters Ric Flair and eventually pile drives him through the announcer's table, which in the storyline injured his neck. And then Terry Funk got this match. Good match here. 3.5-star match. Finish comes when Funk, for some reason, when he should logically be working on the neck, he goes for the spinning toe hold. Now, Funk won a world title with the spinning toe hold. He beat Dory Funk Jr. with it in 1975. He beat Harley Race with it in 1975 to win the NWA World Championship. I don't know why I said Dory Funk Jr. Probably because both of them were world champion in the NWA. But Funk had beaten Harley Race in 75 with the spinning toe hold, so he was trying, I guess, have work again. Flair pushes Funk down. Flair goes for his own spinning toe hold, gets put in a small package that he then reverses and gets the 3 count. And both men are busted open at this point. So then Sting and Muta get involved, and it sets up what I believe is the main event for the first Halloween Havoc, which is Sting and Flair versus Funk and Muta. I could be wrong on that. I'll have to find out in October when I review all the Halloween Havoc shows. So this start now. What I haven't touched on yet is a lot of people consider this pay-per-view to be the greatest wrestling pay-per-view of all time. It's good, no doubt about that. It's probably of the Great American Bashes I've seen, it's the best one. Because I've seen with 88 and 89 now, I have seen everyone except 90 and 91. I've seen 92, 95 through 2000, plus all 5 WWE ones. So, while this is good, I don't think it's the greatest show of all time, especially when you put it up against WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 17. WrestleMania 3, because for starters, there's no 5-star classics here. There's some very good, strong matches, but no real 5-star classics. WrestleMania 17 has a couple of those. Or a 5-star classic and a near 5-star to me. That's only problem is its overall finish from being 5 stars. And WrestleMania 3 has 2 5-star matches. A true 5-star wrestling match and a match that I gave 5 stars to because of historical significance, even though I admit the match is horrible. And those 2 matches are Savage, Steamboat, and Hogan Andre. And that's the kind of stuff that makes this that you have to look at when you're asking yourself, is this the greatest show of all time? This is definitely one of WCW's, NWA/WCW's best shows ever. But I don't think it belongs in the category of WrestleMania 3 or 17. So, like I said, it's a very good show, though. Its rating is 21 out of a total 45 stars, so it actually is a C show. It's a C show in terms of ring work. Yeah. Next review in the series is Great American Bash 1990, and I know it's either 90, and I believe that's the one that Sting wins his first world title at. I could be wrong on that, though. I don't think I am. But I could be wrong. But that'll be uploaded tomorrow. This will be in my Great American Bash review series playlist. So if you like the video, like button is down there, subscribe button is down there, and thank you for watching. Bye.